Guys, we got breaking news. NIO just announced a new round of dilution, hitting us shareholders once again with more dilution. So, what is this all about? Well, first of all, the amount 70 million shares. All right, 70 million shares. It sounds like a lot, but actually, considering the fact that NIO has a float of $2 billion, 2 billion shares, or a massive float, this dilution is only about 3%, 3.5%. And apparently, these shares will be used for employee compensation and bonuses. Okay, so yes, dilution indeed, but you got to think about it this way. This ain't the first dilution that they've done. This ain't the last dilution that they're going to do. There will be definitely more future rounds of dilution. It's just pretty much guaranteed, all right? They're spending money on so many different things that they need the support of financial markets to help them achieve their goals, all right? So, for example, they're still expanding into different countries. One of the big news that we've heard recently, the rumor that they're expanding to France, Spain, and Italy, 3 of those European countries, and also, EU, they got those tariffs, so cars are going to be pretty expensive there. Personally, I don't see a reason for this to happen, right? Once you see those tariffs, you should really be holding back on your actions and involvement over there. Work with what you have. But NIO still wants to expand in Europe, all right? And that's definitely going to cost them a lot of money. If you guys saw the NIO house in the Netherlands, man, they got like a huge, massive NIO house. It's even got me jealous as a NIO owner, because here, the biggest NIO house is only 2 floors, but they got like a whole NIO building, 6, 7 floors. The whole thing is a NIO house, though. It's a NIO building. Just absolutely amazing. I mean, the biggest NIO house in terms of size is in China in Hefei, all right, near the factory. Obviously, that's that's land that's near the factory, so I can imagine the rent wouldn't be super high because land will be pretty cheap there. But in the Netherlands, with that massive NIO house in the middle of the city, that's probably going to cost them quite some money. And then every single country they expand to, they will have to build at least one NIO house. They got to build service centers. They got to build swap stations there as well. So kind of expensive, but the silver lining is, of course, expanding into those countries, the swap stations, they can do grid stabilization, and hopefully it can be like Denmark, where one swap station can earn 200,000 euros per year pure profit just on grid stabilization. Hopefully, fingers crossed, that the other countries also have similar electricity policies. But that's one area, right? European expansion. But in China, right, you got factory number 3 going on. Factory number 3, very interesting. It's probably already being built right now. One thing that you guys may have noticed is that the decrease in cash from Q4 to Q1, even though the loss was only 700 million, but the cash amount decreased by 1.6 billion. So some of that cash turned into asset, probably the factory. All right, probably the factory. Factory number 3, most likely for further NIO vehicles and also the Firefly vehicle. We know the Onvo vehicle is being built at Hefei factory number 2. So factory number 3 is definitely going to be for Firefly brand, and maybe in the future additional Onvo vehicles as well. But that's also another area that they're spending money on. They're going to have 3 factories. So that's going to be quite a lot of assets that they have. And on top of that, man, Onvo, they're expanding. They're expanding like crazy with Onvo. Right? They're going to start off with 100 different stores. That just means, each store will probably cost at least like 1 million RMB, which is maybe like 200,000-300,000, maybe a little bit less than the cost of a swap station, but you get those stores. The thing is, with these Onvo stores, they're actually going to be pretty small, according to the Onvo manager. Most of them are pretty small. I've seen one of them that currently has a NIO inside because the Onvo cars aren't ready yet. They're mostly going to be very small, just for one vehicle and a few sales reps, etc. but they're going to have 100 stores at the start, and they're going to be expanding, have more stores as well. So that's also another big area of cash expense. And of course, they're giving away freebies as well. Even with the Onvo brand, with the charging and plus swapping subsidy. So every day you can scratch off and get some credits that goes towards charging or swapping, whichever one you want. But I think that's pretty genius. But of course, more cash burn, right? More cash burn. Now, for NIO themselves, they're also expanding here domestically in China. They're going to build more stores, expand sales. Every store has more and more sales reps. They're constantly hiring more sales reps to expand the sales network. That is, of course, going to help them achieve higher sales going forward. And we saw in my previous video, 5,300 per week. One of the things that I really personally have a problem with is the fact that the cars, after the price cut back last year in June, reducing the price by 30,000 RMB, but removing a free swap every month. But now they're still giving free swap vouchers. So it's just basically a price cut, 30,000 RMB. But that has really hurt their margins. And we've seen in the earnings report recently, 4 Orin X chips. So 5,300 cars. Each one of them has 4 Orin X chips. You can imagine that's around 20,000 Orin X chips that NIO had to order from NVIDIA to place in those 5,000 vehicles. So, NVIDIA is getting rich. While the more NIO vehicles NIO sells, NVIDIA gets richer and richer. So really, they got to speed up the development of their own chip and get that into cars as soon as possible. And that's one of the top concerns of NIO's CEO. Even he himself said that, yes, right now the urgent task is to upgrade the entire lineup to NT 3.0 cars with their own chip so that they can stop paying NVIDIA for 4 chips for every single car sold. All right, that's absolutely nuts to think about. It gives me nightmares. Right, you got to pay NVIDIA 4 times for every single one car sold, and that's obviously not sustainable. With NT 2.0 cars, it's pretty clear. No matter how many vehicles NIO sells, the more they sell, the more they got to pay NVIDIA. The bigger the losses. All right, it's just the margins are that low. We got to wait until NT 3.0 cars next year. Okay, so that aspect, and also the incentives and everything, it's clearly not that profitable yet for NIO to sell these vehicles. So yes, we did get hit by dilution, 70 million shares, but understand that for NIO to continuously survive and grow and become the company that we all want NIO to become, right? To achieve profitability, they need that cash to help them get there. They got to get everything laid out. They got to get the Onvo and also the Firefly, all those 2 brands set in stone and selling vehicles, delivering vehicles to customers. By then, and also NIO's vehicles starting probably 2025, 2026 will have NT 3.0 cars for NIO being sold. That will really help margins, and by then we can probably expect dilution to be sort of phased out. All right, but until then, NIO really needs money to help them grow and stuff. They got quite a lot of money, 6.3 billion in the bank, but I suspect that going forward, as this dwindles, they will have to take opportunities to further do share offerings whilst the share price is still relatively high. At maybe like $4 or $5. Better than offering shares at $2, $3, right? So hopefully we'll have to see. Maybe they got enough money to get them to where they're able to sustain themselves and be profitable going forward. But until then, just dilution is going to be very common. Same thing with Tesla. They did lots of rounds of dilution. It's just a part of automobile company. It's very tough, and I think NIO's doing very well. They just got to fix the margins. And actually, to be honest, if they were a bit more conservative, sorry about that, say they halted European expansion, all right, and then maybe were a lot more frugal with their spending, they could totally become profitable very, very soon but it's just, they want to see that explosive growth. They want to take market share. They're spending money to get there. So they're very aggressive nonetheless. Hopefully it all works out. As always, stay safe, stay healthy. Peace out.